start this module, you need to create a section line to determine the section view in the floor plane. Currently we have an existing section. Let's pick the parameters of it. This is the section from the previous module we created, and draw a section across the project horizontally like so. Then the viewing direction will be at the top like that, and then activate the arrow tool and then select the section to move it to the desired position. I would want it to cut the mechanical duct, as you can see here. And then from here, right click while it's still being selected and open with current view settings. And then wait a sec for it to open. Once it's open, make sure all the elements are loaded or are active under this view. So let's bring up the layer settings from options, menu, element attributes, and then layer settings. I would select all layer combination and then hit OK to make sure all elements are active under this view. You would want to reference or to put all elements under context. So from here, let's create a folder for this. I'll call it 06, which is the code for this module, and then section, and make sure it's out of the electrical and mechanical folder, and then drag it below or underneath the electrical and mechanical folder. Perfect. And then we can save now this current view. Custom the name and uppercase to be consistent with the rest of the naming of views, and then create. From here we are done. It's nice and clean. What you need to do here is to right click on the section view, then open the section settings. Under this window, we would want to focus on the model appearance section. So we'll start first with the cut elements. I would want the cut field to be a uniform surface. To make all this black, I would find a black color to represent all the cut elements. Just find something to use as black color. I'll pick this one. Then from here I'll move down to uncut elements, but make sure your uniform cut pens are active, and then set the pen to color 1. Then move down to uncut elements, and the uncut field will be a surface texture with non-shaded. And then you have an option to switch off the surface or to get rid of the surface color, but in this case let's just leave it for now. We'll see after. And then the shadow, also we can play around with the shadow. So for now let's just leave it there, or we can set the color for the shadow or the fill for shadow, which is 25%. And then I'll use color 1 for the fill background pen, and then hit OK. And then wait for the changes to appear on your view. There we go. We have this dark and boring section view. So let's go back to the section settings. Right click again on the view settings to correct that, or you can hit settings under properties there. And then from here we make sure all are active, and then this is the view, or sorry, the room label from the zones. So what we need to do is to go to element attributes, and then create a new layer combination for section. I'll say 06 section, then okay. From here I'll make sure all the elements, select all elements, then make sure they are active, then deselect these elements, make sure the room label is off under this layer combination, and then update. Hit OK. Then we need to wait for the preview. There we go. We have the label now unactive under this. So this is what we have currently, and yeah, we can do much better than this. Let's again open the, so you see under properties there's an exclamation mark because this is a temporary section layer combination, but we need to set it and key in under the view settings. So then hit OK, so that it can be permanently set to this layer combination. Perfect. So this is pretty simple, straightforward thing to achieve, especially when you're using these upper versions. So right click again and open the section settings from the view. What we are going to do is to uncheck the surface cover fill for the uncut elements, because we want to get rid of that. Yes, there we go. Nice and clean. So I think elements like this, objects are floating, we need to bring it down. That's one of the advantages of using sections. You can see elements that are not perfectly positioned and try to manage that. Okay, from here let's go to the options menu and bring in the architectural profile. So from here let's collapse. Okay, open the object settings and open the object settings and search for, under the basic library, we would search for 2D people. You can just say 2D people. It's going to take some time to search or bring you results for that. I think that's where ArchiCAD needs to improve. The searching, it takes a bit of time to give you results. If they can improve this to be much faster, it will be very, very handful. As you can see, it takes a while. But this is what I want. I want the silhouettes for this. Let's just scroll down and pick any type. You can pick anything. So in this case I want some person sitting, and then hit OK. Open the custom settings, make sure the view type is on the side view because we're on section, and then 2D presentation, let's set the fill background pen to transparent and the fill to be 25%, and yeah, there we go. Make sure it's on the appropriate layer. This is just a 2D information. I would find something like annotation. There we go, then hit OK. So place this guy on top of this, move it, go back to the settings, and what I want to do here is to change the transparency. I want it to be transparent. There we go, and then move it to floor plan section. Let's change the color to pen 1. We're gonna override this. So drag by the point and place it there, then mirror to the other side. Perfect. So we can place another lady here. Let's mirror a copy and hit Control to add a copy. Place it there, move it to the position on top of this couch. Yeah, perfect. We can also pick parameters of that and open its settings and find a silhouette standing person. Scroll down. And then pick this woman. Set the view type to the side front view and the fill background pen to transparent, then 25% of the fill type, then hit OK. Let's place it around the counter area. Move it at the top to the position like so. Perfect. Great. So now the next stage, it will be the annotation of this. So activate the label tool and open its settings. From here, go to type and preview and select the text or auto text label. Then go down below and assign it a layer and hit OK to apply the changes. Now we can click on any object to apply the annotation. So I'm gonna start with the wallpaper and click on it. There we go, and then let's activate the arrow tool to select the annotation. So there are different versions of selection in label. So we need to have the one with the secondary one that will bring all the points in place. As it is now, it's only primary. So to access all the points, click on the arrow. Click on the arrow. There we go, and then to give you all the points, like the midpoint for between the arrow line and the text. Then now you can access the stretch command in your pad palette, and you can move it freely to any position you want. That's basically it. Double click on text and then hit on auto text. Let's find the the ID. Search on the ID, then element ID and add. We just want to display the IDs, only IDs for this, and then later on we'll do the legend to reference this ID on the layout sheet. So I'll open its settings and then set the angle to 0 and the arrow height, make it 5 millimeters. Then set the control pen for the line to color 20 and hit OK. Before you do that, check the text style, set it to color 20 as well. There we go. Now you have a straight and clean label. So yeah, let's pick parameters of this and move on to the next component. But before we do that, let's open its settings first. I want us to set the pointer. In this case, we want it to be red as well because it's not visible on a background, a black background. So we'll have to change the color to red. Pick parameters of this and then apply it to the other elements. I'll click the air curtain and then the fire equipments, fire extinguisher, and the chair, just like that. And then once you are done with the use, now to position this, I like them to be justified in one position, so I'll move them by the midpoint, stretch them to anchor them in one position. This, you can select that and move it by just Control D. Move it at the top. This I can move it by the midpoint and to stretch it. There we go. So I can pick parameters of that and hit Control A to select all, so that you can reduce the height of the font, the height of the text, to 3 millimeters. And then now we can readjust again and stretch these components to there, and then open its settings. Let's change the angle to 60 degrees, just like that. And then I'm gonna do the same to this. Click on the line tool, click on the arrow line, and so that you can access the stretch command, or move it there, stretch it to there, and stretch it to the top. You can try by all means to have equal distance for spacing, if it's possible, because for presentation wise it will look neat and perfect. So I'll try by all means, but not always the case that you have it that way, but you can try your best. There we go. Yeah, pick parameters and also do for the speakers. Select the label and do the same by stretching to the position. This, I think I might have to move it at the top there. Let's move this there, open its settings, and let's set the angle to 60 degrees. I think we need to reduce it to 50 degrees. Yeah, I think let's make it 30. Not bad. You can also stretch it to the top. that way. It looks nice already. So yeah, I think from here, right click on top of the and open the section settings. So what we're going to do here is to modify the story levels. So I'm going to switch them off so that they're not visible on a section. I just want to have a simple annotations. So pick parameters of that, and then I'll click on the items like so. Pretty simple. The most important thing is how you justify your label. So they have to share the same point to align them so that your section can look clean and neat. So yeah, this is just the basics of drafting, but very, very important. Perfect. Yeah, I think I can move to the other side and do the same. Pick parameters of that, and let's start with the couch and then select it. I'm going to mirror it vertical, just like that. And then I'm gonna move it. We'll pick parameters again and do the table. Click on that and open its settings. Here I want to change the label orientation. I'm gonna make it 0, so that go back and make it 90 or 180. I think it's 90 or 180, something like that. 120. Let's make it 0. Let's make it 0 or 180. Then you can stretch it to align it with the other, and then make sure there's enough space between the label. I'll move this one down, bit down, and then pick parameter of that, select the pendant and move it to let's pick the center point, the midpoint, and there we go. I think let's stretch the arrow lead to the nice and clean. Pick parameters again, do the wall finish. Click on the point, click on the arrow line and pick the midpoint, so that you can be able to stretch it. Open its settings and then set the pointer angle to 60 or 70 degrees, something like this. Perfect. Pick another parameter as well, and then do the ceiling board or ceiling finish. Just gonna do the same thing. Oops, there. Let's reduce. Okay, there we go. Click on this point, stretch it to the point or to the position. Perfect. yeah, I think I'm impressed so far with the progress that we've made so far. So open the layout book and create a new layout for this. I'm gonna call it section, and then set section elevation. Let's set the master to A1 landscape and create. So we have a problem here for the name of the thing, so I'm going to select that, the view map, and place the section view. There we go. Select it, zoom in. Let's select it and change the scale to okay. There we go. Open the settings from the properties, and you can also set the scale here to 1:50, or you can set the scale on the layout. So I might also do it freeform by clicking on the point and activate the stretch, so that I can stretch this proportionally. And again, I can also use the info box to assign a scale. So I'm going to use 1:20. Let's wait. There we go. Let me drag it to the position. I'm gonna use the offset edge to offset all edges. I just want to fit all the content within the frame, and then hit update. Hit update. It takes a bit of time because of the graphics. We have graphics that are heavy. We've got high quality images. Obviously, it will take time to update some of the things. So yeah, quality sometimes comes as a cost. So let's stretch this edge to fit in the content. I think by now you should be experiencing some nagging of your computer behavior, more especially when you are dealing with the layout and drawings on the layout book. They are very heavy, more especially this kind of sections. They are rich in visual graphics. So yeah, they will give you some bit of a delay for you to work around. So just be patient with that. There we go. Let's set the scale. Let's set the scale to custom and make it 1:30. Not a problem. Click on the edge to offset this edge. I'll do the same to the other edges. Let's move it to the top. to the top and center of the, no, I think on the right, because on the left that's where we are going to place the legend for the list of elements. So yeah, I think move this again a bit up. There we go. Let's zoom in and check. Yeah. Perfect. It will depend on your standards, the way you are dealing with the layouts and all the likes, but that's basically what I can share with you in terms of setting up the best layout book in ArchiCAD. So I can also trim the unwanted information if I want, like this one. I think click it there. Yeah. Move it somewhere here. There we go. In this class, we're going to create a 3D document section or a 3D section document and then place it on the same layout we created before. So to do that, let's open the floor plan view, and then we're going to take advantage of the same section marker we placed in the previous class. Go to my Q tool and then let's cut this section, then right click to show the 3D, the marquee in the 3D. There we go. And we need to make sure all the elements are active. So if you put it that way, so let's, I think this is the view that I'm going to work with. Let's set the view. The best thing is to create a camera from the view we are cutting our section. Then from there, select the camera and then hit F3 in your keyboard or F5. So the height of the camera is high, so what you need to do is to adjust this height. So we're going to have the height on 1.5 for both the angle and the cone. So if you say show selection in 3D, now you have a good perspective to work with. So let's now start again the marquee. Draw the marquee to cut across along the section line and right click to show the marquee on 3D. So if we check, zoom out, this is a perfect perspective that we're going to use. Go to options and element attributes to open the layer settings so that you can select the section layer combination to activate all the elements that are in this project, because we want to put the whole thing into context. So it will take a bit of time because there are a lot of objects that are in this project, so depending on your machine, so it will depend on speed. There we go. Now we have everything in place. So we need to save this view. So yeah, let's go to, I think everything is fine, as you can see. Maybe the door this door needs to show. What you need to do, let's save first the view under 3D view. Let's hit on save the current view and give it a name. It will be sectional elevation or sectional view. Then create. Right click and convert this into a 3D document and name it sectional view. Then hit on create if you're done. There we go. And again, this will take a bit of your seconds. There we go. We also need to save this view. I'm going to save it under 3D documents folder and save the view. Everything is set. Let's hit on create. Wait for it to generate the 3D document. Just a second. There you go. Perfect. And then the next step is to set up. Right click on this view and open the 3D document settings. What we want to do is to set the model appearance parameters. So you can expand your window so that you can see. So I want to set the cut field to uniform surface, just like we did for the previous section. And then the color field will be paint or black paint. Under uncut elements, we're going to use the surface color field with non-shaded for uncut fill. So then I'm gonna activate the surface color fill background or foreground, and then make sure the shadow is active and fill pen for the shadow use color 1, and then the shadow fill pen use 20% transparent. Then hit OK. Wait for it a bit to update the changes. When you're dealing with 3D documents, it's demanding a lot of your GPU because they are heavy files. So you better be patient. I think that's the area where ArchiCAD needs to improve a lot in terms of the handling of 3D documents, because this feature came in with the latest versions. I think around 19. If I remember, where is 19 version. But since then, they haven't improved much on the handling of it. There we go. Now it looks pretty nice. It looks very nice. So what you need to do from here is let's go to the document and activate the label tool. I want to place the annotation or the label just like how we did it for the 2D section. Open and set the angle to 0. Pick parameters of that and place on multiple elements, just like that. Open this, set the pointer angle to 60 degrees. Perfect. Pick parameters of that, place it on the fire extinguisher, stretch it to align with the other labels, so you can move it a bit up. Do the same for the remaining or the other elements, just like that. I'm going to make sure that I align all my text or all my label from the one. This one I will also set the angle to 60 degrees, just like that. Then pick parameters. Let's label the extract. Click on the label. Click on the label to stretch it and align it with the other labels, just like that. Zoom in and pick the midpoint of a label to stretch it to there and create the space between. Then I think I might have to fix this one to avoid clashing, and then this I'll set the angle to 60 degrees. Perfect. I think let's maybe use 40 degrees. Nice. I'm gonna do the same to the other elements as well. Let's go for the downlight. Move it to there. Open its settings, set the angle of the pointer to 40 degrees. Perfect. Then pick the parameters of a straight one and do the trusses and the pair lines together with the roof finish and the roof insulator. Perfect. Now it's time for me to align them to the others. Yep. Set the angle for this one, set 50. No, 50 is too much, let's do it 40. Let's try, I think 40 is fine. This I need to set it alone, make it 20. Or maybe 10. Yeah, 10 is perfect. Yeah. It's pretty simple, and again I'm gonna repeat the same to the other side. But before we do that, let's right click and access the 3D documented settings and then set the surface color to paint ivory black, then the cut pen to color 1 as well, the contour pen. Then wait for the changes to apply. There we go. It's crazy when you're dealing with 3D documents. The results are outstanding. The problem is the process. You have to be very patient to access that. So yeah, I think that's an option. You can go back again and change the color to paint something gray. Black is good also, but I prefer it a bit gray. The intensity is not too much as black. So yeah, I'll resort with the gray color. There we go. Nice and clean. So go to the layout book and open the layout for the section, and go back to the view map and drag and drop the 3D document here. Let's place it there. Perfect. We need to set the same scale, I guess. So I'll select this, and let me start first by trimming the blank areas by just offsetting the edge like that. There we go. It's nagging, like I told you, when you're dealing with the drawings on the layout, especially the 3D document. It will be very, very heavy for the GPU to handle. So you might better be patient with that. So yeah, there we go. And then let's go to the info box. Let's set the scale to custom, then 1:30. There we go. Wait a second for it to update. Let's try to trim unwanted spaces around our drawing. Move it to the point here, just a bit, and trim off that. Let's trim off the bottom edges as well. Something like that. Then move it down below, just to create enough space between the drawings. And then let's select the title and move it to use it stretch. Oh, what happened? Click on it. Click on it and use a stretch, and then move it to the center here, below the section or below the drawing. Okay, I think now we have everything in place in terms of our drawings. So what we need to do is to create a legend for this layout, but we also need to sort out the title for the above, for the top section. I think click over here and pick, move to stretch the title and put it there. Perfect. You can try by all means to align your drawings. Use a reference point. In this case, I'm trying to have the annotations to be in line with the others, like so. It won't be perfect, but try your best to have a good presentation of your information. So yeah, now is the time to create a legend and place it on the remaining space. So let's wait for it to update, and then open one of the legends. I have electrical legend there, and then open the scheme settings. Let's set up a new legend. This will be all. I'll say the name will be elements. So it's going to be a list of all elements that are in the project. So the criteria is going to be all objects. And then let's add a field for, let's start with the description of this element. I think it's description, and another field will be for the ID, the element ID. Make sure it's on the top, or drag it to the top, then hit OK to schedule all elements, all objects that are in this project. So I'll stretch it and then unwrap and wrap text to automatically fix your cell. So then I'll delete the title, just want to remain with the list of elements title. And then I'll merge the uniform items. Yep. Let's scroll down and check. It's nice and easy. So I'm going to remove the borders for the cells for all the schedule, and then the title will be bold, like so. Perfect. Yeah, I think we need to save this as a view, but you can also try to sort it out. Let's go back to the view map under reports. Let's save this. Save this view. Make sure the layer combination is all, then hit OK. Go back to the layout book and open the sectional elevation and place the legend, the list of elements legend. Go to the view map and then drag and drop it. Drag and place it here. There we go. We're going to take out or remove the title label for the drawing. So go to the info box, select it and go to the info box. Scroll down and find the title type. And then say no title. And then let's go zoom in here, and what I want is to pick one of the points and offset. But if you scroll down in the info box, you can adjust the scale to custom. or 2 to 1, depending on what you want, or you can just stretch it from the one of the points and pick stretch from the pad palette and increase the scale of the label, just like that. Let me move it back, on the corner there. Perfect. Then you can play around with the spacing. That's up to you. Nice and clean. You can offset the edges to make sure you fit all the content and then update. Perfect. I think it's pretty much what we want. So yeah, that's exactly how you do it. So you can try see to make sure it's perfect. I think you can move it horizontally to the right, just to make sure everything is in good position. Perfect. And then I'm going to change the name of the layout so that it can fit in on the title of the layout. Yeah, I think this will fit. That's the last thing to do.